Welcome to Hire We Go, where we're chatting all things talent acquisition transformation. Whether you're an HR vet or someone who's simply fascinated by how to find, attract, and engage talent, you're in the right place. I'm your host and Director of Solutions here at Joveo, Ashlie Collins, and joining us today is Serge. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and CV Resume Wallet?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ashlie. I think I've seen your name over the years, but finally face to face, so it's my pleasure on that end. A little bit about me. So my name is Serge Boudreau. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Resume Wallet. In North America, we call it Resume Wallet. In Europe, we call it CV Wallet. Obviously, we leverage different terms depending on where you are in the world. I've been in recruiting for around 20 years. I've spent half of my time as a recruiter, talent acquisition leader. Then I guess the other half on the other side of the equation, on the HR tech side, I've worked with companies like Indeed, Workopolis here in Canada. I'm also a podcast dude. So I was the host of the Recruitment Flex podcast that ran for 4 years. I am currently the HR weatherman on the HR morning show that airs every Tuesday morning. And I have a YouTube/podcast series called the Quality Conversation that shows up every 2 weeks. So yeah, I definitely want everyone to check those. But let me tell you a little bit about Resume Wallet. So I'm sure a lot of people some people have heard about Resume Wallet, but basically what we are is a two-sided marketplace with a job seeker app that candidates can leverage to get their credentials verified. And then we look at matching them with jobs in our network that meet all the criterias, including we look at qualifications, we look at location, and then we look at verifying those credentials. We then work with our clients because they are verified and we feel they're qualified as well, that they get prioritized in the hiring funnel. Basically, what we're trying to do is fix one of the biggest issues we're seeing in recruitment right now, which is way too many unqualified candidates flooding into the recruiter's inbox.
Absolutely. And I think we are aligned in that mission, I must say. I was curious to get your take with the rise of AI-driven applications and easy apply tools flooding recruiters with the high volume of candidates like we talked about. How do you see the balance shifting between efficiency and quality in hiring? And it's a two-part question. Do you feel like there are companies that are prioritizing the right metrics when evaluating their recruitment success?
Well, that's a great question. And I think it's a question that a lot of practitioners in our industry are trying to resolve. But what we're seeing, as I mentioned, is we're seeing a huge imbalance, right? Recruitment tech overall, both on the candidate side and also on the employer side, has made it a little bit too easy. What we're seeing is AI-driven tools. I like to call it lazy apply. Basically, those tools that you enter your information once, and suddenly it applies for 1,000 jobs or whatever the amount a day. So trying to fix that is a challenge. As we said, recruiters are just flooded with volume. And as we know, volume doesn't really equal quality. And I know that's been the case in the past. Let me give you a lot of candidates and let's hope that you get qualified candidates out of it. But unfortunately, recruiters have been, I like to say they're the canary in the coal mine. They are the first to get laid off when the economy starts slowing down or hiring. And fortunately, the last couple of years have been really tough. So there is less recruiters and they're getting more applicants, which is a challenge. They're not getting to everyone. So we're getting all these candidates that are getting ghosted because literally they can't get to them. So the high quality candidates are not getting responses. And that's creating a massive challenge of bad experience on the candidate side, but also bad experience for the recruiters. Recruiters are starting to get kind of burnt out. On the second question, when we look at metrics, this one is, I haven't figured this one out completely, but I do have thoughts of what should we be looking at, because most of the time recruiters that I know really, they kind of resort to they look at efficiency metrics like time to fill, cost per click, number of applicants, but it doesn't really tell you anything. Are you actually hiring good quality candidates? And my experience is companies are not really digging in deeper. They're not looking at the last year, the last 2 years. It's like, okay, we got this amount of candidates. Like, how many did actually flow through the process? How many did we hire of the ones we've hired? How many are actually still in the role? Like, we never look at it because we're so overwhelmed with just like so much coming in. I have some preference on metrics that companies should look at. One of them is the cost per qualified applicant. Why not look at, are we actually paying for talent that is good? And doesn't mean you're qualified that you're going to get hired. But if you're getting 6 qualified applicants and you can bring them through the interview process, that's a good sign, right? If you're only looking at how many applicants that you actually get, it's just noise. Like, we know there's just noise out there. The other one that I look at is, and with a lot of tools in AI and ATS, everyone has really kind of job fit scores. And I was a little bit reluctant on those in the past. But I think the technology has improved dramatically, that it has to be part of the process. Are candidates aligning with the role, or is it just candidates that are mass applying for jobs, right? And trying to get a determination of that is really critical. But balance, right? AI is here. It's being leveraged by candidates. It's being leveraged by employers, by technology providers. How can we all make it together? How can we make it work for recruiters? Because it feels right now it's working against recruiters, and really would love to fix that part of the equation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we're seeing a lot of our partners, our clients, that are spending really good money to overwhelm their recruiters and create this problem for themselves. And so it's one of the things we're working to fix. And two of the other things that, I thought of as you were talking about the metrics, the cost per qualified application and the job fit, is I think those are both strong opportunities to train the AI, to teach the AI to think in the way that we want it to think. You get to decide what quality means to you, and you set that definition, and that's how your AI learns.
Well, I have a question for you, Ashlie. So looking at the other way, do you think really that flood of candidate that's happening right now is the job fit will help? Because when we talk about calibrating candidates, like we almost have to go back in history and look at the last year, the last 2 years of those candidates that have come through the funnel. Why do you think companies don't do that? Do you think it's a resource issue?
I think it's a resource issue, and I think it's a technology issue. I think one of the best ways to get the job fit or the job match right is to plug in your existing database to tools that can essentially analyze who are the folks that you're hiring and what do they look like. Are there schools that they came from? There's a lot more that you can learn about the human beings. I think we take such a consumer approach to this all the time, don't we? And it's a very different set of data that you analyze when you're talking about a person and what makes them succeed in a given role. And so I think that's one of the big pieces of they go together, right? You're light on resources, and folks haven't automated this at scale in a meaningful way. So last question for you today, and really appreciate your time. If you had a magic wand, what would you change about talent sourcing in 2025?
Oh, I thought just a magic wand in general. The first thing I do is fix my receding hairline, try to figure out how that works. But if I look at the talent sourcing focus, as we've talked, recruiters are really drowning on low quality, low intent applications. So how do we fix this? I want us to focus on smarter, not just faster here, because I think a lot of the tools, everything we're doing is how can we get candidates through the systems a lot quicker? How can we have everything just quicker? And I think this is, okay, let's take a step back. As someone said to me on my podcast, we slow down to speed up, or I think it's critical here. For organizations, what I like to see for recruiters is they start getting really high intent. Like, these people are actually really interested in your opportunity. I'd like to see them pre-verified. I think there is trust has been broken in the process in the last like 5, 10 years, both on the candidate side because of getting ghosted, and both on the other side as well. Like what is real jobs? The job ecosystem has gotten extremely noisy, and if we don't fix it, it's going to make us irrelevant in some ways. So I think we have to focus on that. Like, how do we get rid of these thousands of unqualified resumes? That would be ideal. I want to see sourcing in a way, like if we're going to leverage AI, I don't, keyword matching is a little bit outdated. I think the technology is way better now that it can look at key things that could determine success in that role that maybe we couldn't in the past. But my number one thing, and as a recruiter at heart, what I really love and what I was really good at was building relationship, kind of being an account manager between the hiring managers. So you're their account manager. You make sure they get everything they need, right? You're partner with them. And for candidates, you're building relationship. You're spending your time building relationships instead of doing all the admin work, which AI should eliminate. Like, this is where the real value of is. But also sifting through unqualified candidates. Like, if you get 1,000 candidates and 997 are not qualified and you have to go through all of them, what a waste of time for everyone. So I guess that's a lot. It's a big magic wand. But that's what I like to see in the industry. Definitely a real focus on verified and qualified candidates.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for casting your vision and for joining us today. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.